Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with round 11 of season 3 of the F124 driver career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here in the Styrian Mountains for the Austrian Grand Prix. Of course, our third of 5 sprint weekends of the year. So we are back with the all new exciting one-shot qualifying format as well. But obviously if you missed out on the video that went live on Monday from Barcelona, I would highly recommend going back and checking out. It seems like we're finally getting back into a routine in this series. Actually now able to challenge Charles Leclerc for, you know, races and obviously podiums and obviously Grand Prix victories are the big one. So yeah, hopefully this weekend we can continue that run of form on. 2 back-to-back victories now has left us just 8 points behind Max Verstappen in the title race. But obviously we are at the Red Bull Ring this weekend and it's absolutely a circuit where Max Verstappen comes alive. Will Ferrari have the pace? It is anybody's guess. But of course, if you're new around here as well, please do make sure you get yourself subbed to the channel. We are closing in on 131,000 subscribers. The big goal, of course, 140k right now. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. Austria always provides chaos and carnage, so hopefully we can have a good run today.
Hello everyone, welcome to Austria. It is a short track, it is high speed, it is exactly what we enjoy for qualifying.
Well, here we are then, ready for qualifying here from the Styrian Mountains. Of course, first up then, we've got one-shot quali ready for the sprint race. And maybe, just maybe, this weekend we can finally get our first sprint win inside F124. I have had so much bad luck in the sprint races so far in this game, but I would really love for today to be a little bit of a different story there. As once again, I mean, you would have to guess it's going to be Verstappen, Leclerc and I fighting it out for pole position. I don't believe anybody else has claimed a pole so far yet in this campaign. As you can just see the Dutchman there. Like I said, we knew this would be a strong track for him. We know he'll be kicking on strong this weekend. A big opportunity for him and Red Bull, you know, to try and take some points out of us in the championship. I mean, it's just a deadly combination, isn't it? The Dutchman and that Red Bull car as well, especially at the higher altitude. It really does suit their engines as well here. There's a couple more corners to go. This lap hasn't felt too bad, but certainly hasn't felt quite on the limit as I would want it to be. At the final corner, nice line there. I think we're going to join him on the front row, but Verstappen, he's got the jump on everybody. There we go, nice and simple by the Dutchman there. Pole position by 0.2 of a second. Doesn't sound like a lot, but when you consider how short this circuit is, that is a very, very comfortable pole. I mean, yeah, both Ferraris, both McLarens, then Fernando Alonso gets ahead of Hamilton and Sergio Perez there. No major shocks up and down the order. I guess a pretty good effort by Alex Albon as well in the Williams. But we've got 12 laps ahead of us first of all then in the sprint. Let's get it.
Welcome to today's sprint. This is shaping up to be another fantastic weekend. Seven rights and just 3 left-handers make up the 10 corners of this high-speed circuit. Turn 2 is flat out, a left-hand kink into the uphill braking zone of Turn 3. Turns 1, 3 and 4 are all potential opportunities to overtake. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday and he'll start from pole position. And Firestarter completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Leclerc, Oscar Piastri, Norris, Fernando Alonso, Hamilton, Perez, Russell, Stroll, Sainz, Albon, Gasly, Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Behrman, Hulkenberg, Ocon, Joe, and Frederick Vesti. And with preparations almost complete, let's head trackside for today's sprint. Welcome to the...
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
Well, here we are then, ready on the grid for the sprint race here from Austria. Like we said, lining up P2. I'm actually pretty happy with that. I think we might be able to give Max Verstappen a run for his money today. Now, luckily, I actually did this in co-op a couple of days ago with Gary. The video from Austria is actually going live later on this evening as well. It's genuinely a banger. Go back, check it out once it's live. Map 2 and 2 gameplay. There'll be a link down in the description below. But yeah, the soft compound tyres don't really work in the sprint, so we're going to keep it nice and simple and take the mediums throughout the 12 laps here for the first race of the weekend. Of course, Verstappen is one of my rivals. It is 5 red lights. And it is going to be lights out, and away we go then. Nice clean getaway. Charles Leclerc struggling a little bit further behind us already. Lando, Norris, and Oscar Piastri, I believe that is, trying to have a look down at turn 1. Piastri there really tried to make a bold manoeuvre happen, but unable to make it stick on the exit of the corner, as Leclerc now under pressure from Fernando Alonso as well. See, last weekend, the first time all year, Charles Leclerc hasn't had a podium yet, so I think he's hoping to try and put that behind him and continue on with the solid run of form he's had. Already you can see him, Alonso there, really battling it out for that P4 position, and that's allowing us in the top 3 just to start breaking away early on in the stint there. So Verstappen will still lead. I think the important bit for us is that we don't let him get out of the DRS range too early on. Otherwise, yeah, the Dutchman might just walk off. It's also quite important as well that we don't give him too much confidence before the race either. Because obviously if he knows he can just waltz away, then he absolutely will. There we go, new fastest lap of the day.
Lap of the race.
I mean, Oscar Piastri is just hanging on to our coattails early on. McLaren have brought more upgrades this weekend to the car, but immediately we're going to go on the offensive then around the outside of Verstappen as we make our way up the hill. Haven't got as much extra straight line speed as we normally do there as the Dutchman tries to lunge it. That'll actually give me the DRS up at the top of turn 2 as well. So as we try and put the power down right out of the way around the outside there, we're going to move up then into the lead of the GP nice and early on. Sorry, not the GP, the sprint race even. But we got a 3-car scrap at the front, and for once it's not Verstappen, Leclerc and I, it's Verstappen, Piastri and I. It feels like the advantage that Red Bull and Ferrari carried early on in the year has been slowly evaporating, as there goes Verstappen back up into the lead of the Grand Prix. I mean, Austria is always a bit of a weird one anyway, but McLaren, Aston Martin, even Mercedes, yeah, seem to be back up to pace this weekend and seem to be a threat to us, so this might make things really interesting in the second half of the year. So again, that Red Bull, tell you what, Verstappen's got a lot of straight line speed this weekend. It is very odd to see. But yellows, we've got yellows a bit further back. Actually, I think that's a back marker. I think that might be Alpine, who's going slowly. Yeah, Esteban Ocon out of the race. I don't think we'll see a safety car or anything like that. We had a red flag here last year, because I think it was Gasly binned it, didn't he, in the sprint. The only time I've still ever had a red flag in a sprint race so far on this game. As we try and have a look around the outside of Verstappen at the top of the hill, they get the traction on the outside. The AI really struggled to put the power down there, as he might be under pressure from Oscar Piastri as well then. So Verstappen may be caught napping. And there we go, yeah, the Australian is through. Got another one. We got another one going. I think that might be, yeah, Carlos Sainz in the V-carb. So not what Red Bull will want to see at their home GP. One of their cars dropping to the wayside. I think they won't matter too much because obviously it's a V-carb rather than a proper Red Bull. But Oscar Piastri is absolutely hounding me now. Might be a bit too late for McLaren in terms of the championship. But if they can start trying to battle for wins again, that'll be really good for them. Because Piastri, yeah, just sends it down the inside. And up into the lead he'll go. Here comes Verstappen. Thinks better of it. Thinks he might go for it again. Thinks better of it. I mean, let's have a look then. What is the McLaren straight line speed relative to the Red Bull? He definitely is a bit stronger up the hill. So I reckon it's more that our car this weekend isn't as well optimised, as well. Just try and slow it down into the apex. Oscar Piastri, though, I think he's going to have the DRS on me this time round. So they're going to have to use a bit of battery there to at least try and stay in line with him. Here comes Verstappen, though. 3 wide temporarily for the lead of the sprint. I think we're just going to back out of that one in that moment, but they're still going to be side by side as we head down the hill. Oscar Piastri is going to have the inside line there, but Verstappen, you know, he's not one to back out of it. And suddenly now Charles Leclerc right up tucked behind me. We've still got Alonso between us. There's a power move there by Oscar. He does not get fear in this game. He will go for a move, and he's happy to barge anybody out, including Max Verstappen. Oh, it's not going to last for long, though. Max Verstappen to the inside again down at turn 1. We're just going to try and go for the slow in, fast out approach there as well. Alonso want to try and have a look at it. We're going to go 3 wide on the exit of the corner. A little bit squeezed there. I think Oscar Piastri didn't realise. As Verstappen trying to use straight line speed there. Look at Alonso Fernando Alonso out of nowhere down the inside at the top of the hill. Max Verstappen will try to barge in. We can't really do anything about it. There we go, Alonso from 4th to 1st in the space of, what, 2 corners here. We might try and have a look. Oh, no, we've just nudged the front wing. That was completely my own doing there, as we'll still get back down the inside.
Damage, and we think we should be okay to continue. It's going to cost us a little bit of time, but we're nearly at the end of the race.
I mean, this is just chaos at the moment, but Alonso has timed that to absolute perfection. We just got a little bit boxed in, but I'd rather the Aston Martin lead to the way, because that thing is not as quick as the McLaren or the Red Bull. I mean, welcome to the Austrian Grand Prix. This is what we always seem to find around this circuit on the F1 games. It just deliver drama, race in and race out there. As again, I don't know whether we just about got the DRS that time round. I think we were even with the Spaniard there up at the top of the hill. Yep, neither of us with the DRS that time round, but we will get back around the outside of Fernando, and that is really critical because it means we can control the pace through the twistier section. Only if I keep it on the road though, as Alonso almost followed me. 1 lap to go then here from Austria, and are we going to see Alonso try and go for it? Oh, I mean, look at that speed by Verstappen as well. Down the inside goes the Dutchman as Charles Leclerc. Haven't seen any of him so far in this sprint, but Leclerc's going to try and make the move. Verstappen timed it to absolute perfection there as he will claim the race lead once again. We have done 14 sprint races prior to now, and not a single one of them have we walked away with P1. Is today finally going to be our day there? Is draining the battery up over the top of the hill. We have got the DRS as well. We might just be able to have a look back down the inside of Max, who tries to move over. We have to lock up the fronts to stay there. Verstappen, though, will get a switch on the exit. We've completely binned it. Completely binned it right at the end there. We tag our teammate Leclerc. Lucky that we don't take him out as well. And my bad luck in the sprints is set to continue as we try and get back on the road there. Just we were too aggressive trying to get to Verstappen again on the exit of the corner. We got a snap of oversteer. We were lucky not to rip a wheel off as we went into the inside wall. But through the final couple of corners, Verstappen will take the win in the sprint. Charles Leclerc P2. Chaos for us once again. And once more, the win will elude us. There we go then, P11. It was not exactly what I thought we'd do as we headed into the final lap of that sprint, but yeah, just got a bit too aggressive there. We know we've got to take risk at this stage of the campaign, but unfortunately, yeah, risk that certainly did not pay off for us today. And Max Verstappen, by just 1/10 of a second, will claim the victory here in the sprint there. Shoutouts to Gasly as well, getting a point for Haas as well there, so a really good effort by the Frenchman as well there. Championship-wise, though, it is going to carve the gap down to under 50 points between your top two. 1 point in it between Lando Norris and George Russell, with Alonso and Oscar Piastri there both waiting in the wings as well. But yeah, we need some redemption as we head into the Grand Prix proper. But first of all, we've got to nail our qualifying lap. Well, the best way to put then that mishap from the sprint race behind us is to try and get a good qualifying result as we head into real qualifying. We know we've got good pace in the car, but we know Verstappen as well is probably going to be a threat this weekend. As you can see, they're making our way through the first corner, absolutely sending it. Again, we've got to take risk at this stage of the campaign. We've got to be willing to push to try and find any last little bit we can there, especially if we want to try and get back to Leclerc and Verstappen in the World Championship. Leclerc's had it far too easy in the opening legs of this season. Second half of the campaign, we want to absolutely bring it to him there, as Verstappen once again looking pretty comfortable here so far over the one shot. We know we've got good grip through the second half of the lap. Like you say, yeah, the Dutchman, he's just so good around this circuit. He just has something else around here that nobody else can quite figure out. It's just 2 more corners to go then. See, he's already got a few car lengths over me. We just dipped a wheel in the gravel, which is certainly not helpful, and not able to capitalise and maximise that penultimate corner. Good run out in the final turn, though. We're going to recover to P4. It's just not good enough. And there we go then, Lando Norris getting the jump on both Ferraris this time round, as we see our top 3 there under the 1:04 marker. Yeah, we were lucky to get back ahead of Perez and Oscar Piastri come the end of the lap, but a lot of work to do as we head into the sprint race. Alex Albon going even better than he did in sprint qualifying there, up inside the top 10. Again, no major surprises up and down the order, apart from probably Stroll under-delivering, but how often have we seen that?
It's race day in Spielberg for this year's Austrian Grand Prix. We are just a few moments away from lights out and our drivers thinking about navigating the Niki Lauda curve as it was renamed in 2019 in memory of one of Formula One's most beloved figures. 700 metres above sea level, 10 corners and one of the shortest laps of the season. 2.6 miles with some good overtaking opportunities, but you've got to get the braking right into turn 1 and turn 3. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and Lando Norris lines up alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Leclerc, Firestarter, Perez, Oscar Piastri, Russell, Fernando Alonso, Hamilton, Albon, Gasly, Hulkenberg, Stroll, Ricciardo, Joe, Behrman, Vesti, Tsunoda, Sainz, and Esteban Ocon lines up at the back of the grid. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. Welcome to the commentary box. I'm Alex Jakes. Alongside me is Anthony Davidson. Well, it's all about forgetting last time because that was a bit of a shocker. How do they change the story today?
You've got to put it behind you. Whatever happened last time, I was always told as a driver, park it, forget about it. Obviously, feel the pain when it happens, but then you can't dwell on it and carry that through to the next race. So put it behind you and just crack on with this race coming your way now.
Right, here we are then. Yep, wise words from Anthony Davidson as well there. But starting P4 this time, we know what we need to do. We need to be a bit more careful on the exit of turn 4. I don't know how many times that corner's plagued me so far in this game, but it really seems to be a pain for me so far. I'm terrible on the brakes in, and I can't seem to get the power down on the way out. But yeah, Charles Leclerc still remains the top priority to outscore, but if we can get the better of him and Verstappen, that would be ideal. Remember, the last time we started P4 was the red flag restart in Spain, and we were P1, one lap further on. Let's hope we can do the same thing here today, as we wait then on the grid for those 5 red lights. And he's going to be lights out, and away we go there. Leclerc, once again, getting off to a pretty bad start, but Oscar Piastri, once again, gets off to an absolute blinder down towards turn 1, and immediately there, contact again between us and our teammate. We had Alonso sending it down the inside, and I've been absolutely bullied out there through the first couple of corners. Hulkenberg up inside the top 10, don't see that very often inside this game. But yeah, absolutely terrible start once more there, and we just cannot catch a break so far this weekend. We'll try and have a look around the outside of him and Hamilton out of turn 3. And you can still see they're 3 wide on the exit of the corner. Surely the Mercedes and the Ferrari will have the advantage over the Haas. In fact, we'll go late on the brakes around the outside of the pair of them there. So a cheeky double overtake. That helps bring the confidence back a little bit closer to where it needs to be. But yeah, not the ideal start though this afternoon. All the way down to P9 then, as Verstappen already just trying to run away from the rest of the order. Again, Leclerc and Alonso seem to be duking it out as well. But yeah, I think for us though, Lando Norris, he's going to have to try and battle Max. Feel like we've seen that one before. Max Verstappen, Lando Norris battling here at Austria. Is that something we've seen? I don't know. Oh, well, we've got no time to dwell on it. Alex Albon, immediately down in turn 1's going to go for a lock-up. We were lucky not to run into the back of him. I was planning on trying to get the move up in towards turn 2, but yeah, we didn't even have to wait for that. As Perez trying to push George Russell along. I mean, to be fair, wasn't the ideal start. Avoided front wing damage.
The car ahead, they're going to be giving off dirty air, which is going to affect our tyres, so try to get past.
But yeah, I mean, apart from obviously, yeah, the top 2 running away a little bit, we haven't actually fallen that far down the order. Sergio Perez, I think it still remains a miracle that he's kept that Red Bull seat, especially with how badly he's done this year when the pressure is on. Oh, I did not quite know where Russell was going to break there. I think there was contact between Checo and our fellow Brit. So hopefully we're going to be able to capitalise there, get around the outside of the Mexican. Or tuck into the slipstream of George Russell. In fact, no, we're going to try and go for a double overtake again. So you can see Piastri and Alonso fighting up in front. And are we going to be able to go the long way around another Mercedes there? We're still going to be wheel to wheel down in towards turn 5. This time around we will have the inside line. And we are back through. Alonso being absolutely relentless then with Oscar Piastri. Having a look back down the inside of turn 1. And for the second time this weekend, Piastri there will just get clipped in the rear quarter. And again, we're going to make the double overtake happen. We can't seem to overtake cars one by one. Alonso, though, that Aston Martin is quick in a straight line, man. Up at the top of the hill. Make sure we give him a little bit of room on the outside there. Luckily, though, we claim the DRS, as Leclerc is immediately caught back up with the top 2. So we've got 2-second gap up to them. We need to try and cut that down. Well, actually, when you think about it, to go from, what, 4th back to 9th, and then back to 4th again inside 4 laps, not actually a bad little recovery there early on in the race. We're just trying to save up a little bit of battery now, whilst we're not under too much pressure from Alonso. But that's exactly what we like to see up in front. Those top 2 battling it out.
Tyres are running very hot, very hot. Please keep those tyre temps under control if you can. Okay, gap to the car in front, 2.7 seconds.
Yeah, we're keeping the tyres at a pretty good window. I'm not too worried. What I am worried about is Alonso again trying to have a look down the inside. So again, the Spaniard there will try to commit to the move. Oh, he really wants to get the elbows out. Fernando Alonso, he has woke up this weekend and really felt like he wants to go aggressive. But again, inside for turn 5. Nope. Oh, sorry, Alonso, I didn't mean to do that. Just nicked that curb on the inside there, and that almost cost us. But as we get to 1/4 distance then, that gap to Leclerc is coming down, but not by a lot, each and every lap. To be honest, though, for us at the moment, I'm quite happy just to be sat in a bit of clear air, kind of doing our own thing. We're able to keep Alonso at bay pretty comfortably now. But yeah, we've just had so much action early on this weekend. It's nice just to be actually able to breathe and calm down a little bit. Well, as we start getting closer and closer to the pit window then, those 3 at the front just getting a bit more aggressive with each other. Leclerc now has made the move for the lead then, so clearly it's been a bit quiet up to this point this weekend. But he's absolutely still got the pace in that car to fight for the victory. Norris is doing pretty well, still ahead of Verstappen. I could be really tempted to undercut, but I'm just not convinced that we'll actually be able to do so, because I think we might get stuck in a bit of slower traffic. As we're almost then at the pit window here, we can still see Leclerc, Norris and Verstappen getting the elbows out with each other. I want to get in that DRS range, but then pretty much after that, I am prepared to undercut to try and get ahead of this group of cars. That could be the key in the second half of the race there, but we're still not quite close enough yet that I'm willing to risk it. We need to see them fighting even more. They've kind of just coordinated a little bit. They've kind of, I wonder if they kind of said to them, you know, Russell, Alonso and I have worked really nicely together over the last 10 laps or so to close in this gap, just because we haven't been fighting each other. If they can do that, I don't think any of us have really got the pace to keep up. And Alonso, sorry, Lando now looks to be just trying to pull away just a little bit here. Leclerc again trying to close in on Lando Norris up at the top of the hill, but unable to do so. And now we are right in the wheel tracks of Verstappen behind. Now obviously we've got the DRS, we might just be able to drop Alonso slightly.
Let's go, let's try and get past them and put them on the back foot. Push, push.
So team wants to make the move on the Dutchman, who just seems to be calming it down a little bit. Hasn't got any front wing damage on that car, but I think just has realised that he might have taken a bit too much out of his tyres early on in the race. And I think now, whoa, yeah, I'm definitely prepared to box the end of this lap then. If we're going to have moments of oversteer like that through the double left-hander, that was incredibly close. Are we going to see any of our top 3 in? We're going to make the call nice and early, try and stay within the white lines. Keep it nice and fair there, as into the pit lane we'll go then. Once you're down here, you can afford to go really aggressive. It said 50! It absolutely said 50. I mean, yeah, we'd sent it in, but please give us a nice tidy stop. No, of course. What is that? How do we get a penalty and a slow pit stop all in one go? I cannot catch a break on this game, man. I swear down. I just cannot do anything.
The left rear wheel. I know it's not ideal, but let's try and put it behind us and finish the race strong.
Well, if we get a safety car throughout the second half, then luckily we're still going to be able to get rid of that penalty. But we should have been probably ahead of that group of 3 cars in front. As Vesti and Sonoda almost come together at the top of the hill. There's more contact being made up the road, but I don't want to be sat behind slower cars throughout the middle sector of this lap. So we're immediately going to try and get a run on at least one of them. Whoa, Yuki there just moves over a little bit, tries to cover me off. This is the second weekend in a row I've gone wheel to wheel with Fred Vesti. Luckily it's the second weekend in a row where we've got the advantage as well. It's down the inside of Yuki at the very next corner. Behrman trying to pull off a similar move on Zhou Guanyu, but doesn't have as much grip as I do there, as these two really tripping each other over. Is that going to allow us to get a run on Zhou? I think he's trying to dive into the pit lane anyway, so we'll go clean around his outside there. Sights as well in.
From a couple of the sensors, so I don't think you need to be worried, just some bad data, so keep doing what you're doing. I'll let you know if we notice any genuine problems.
This has just gone from great to disaster in the space of like 2 laps here, as we've even got the jump on Alonso out of the pit lane, but just a little bit of front wing damage as well. Now we could really do with a safety car. Well, Leclerc then, one of the last ones to box in this Grand Prix, is immediately we have dropped out of the range of Norris in front. Still got quite a few cars in the pit lane then, so where is Leclerc going to come out? He's done very well, actually, on that overcut there to get back through. And he will remain battling Lando, Norris and Max Verstappen for the lead. I think Verstappen might just have broken him out of the DRS range. Luckily for us, something's definitely happened to... No, I think Russell, yeah, has opted to stay out again, hasn't he? So, Russell's still out there, but we've already got a 10-second gap back to Perez.
We've got to look after it now. Please protect the front wing. Come on.
It might be towards the end of the afternoon that front wing damage doesn't... sorry, that 10-second penalty doesn't cost us as much. There we go. Russell then, final car into the pit lane. So we are back up then into P4, but really we are fighting for P6 right now. Yeah, Perez, he's about 10 seconds back, and annoyingly, we won't really get a look at how far back the gap is anymore. Except we could just really do with a safety car. So again, yeah, get that front wing sorted, take the time penalty as well, even if meant we were down right at the rear of the field, just to make an impact. So again, Alonso, I mean, he's just looking for it everywhere now, isn't he? Alonso, it might be in our best interest just to let him by. We're going to hang on inside the range. Oh, Ollie Behrman's out of the Grand Prix. So Behrman, yeah, mechanical failure for Williams is not what they would have wanted this afternoon. Again, it's a shame we can't get a safety car or anything like that for it. I think I've even got the medium set up ready to go if we were to see something like that. But luckily, yes, sticking behind Alonso is working really nicely for us. Just opening up that gap over Perez as he still battles Piastri behind. Alonso might genuinely get back into the fight for the win before this race is down and out. Well, as we cross over to the distance then, I'm trying to make sure that we keep Russell out of the range.
These tyres need to get us to the end of this race.
Simply because obviously if he starts battling Alonso again, then we might be in trouble. We've got the gap over Checo still. Leclerc now seems to have dropped away from Verstappen and Lando Norris. So not too sure what's happened to our teammate, but yeah, this is not really the racing I want to be doing on this game. You know, having to just play the time game, play the strategy with the AI. But unfortunately, sometimes it's what you gotta do.
Just moved into first place.
There we go, Lando Norris back into the lead of the Grand Prix. I have to admit, if I had to pick any one of these top 4, it would be Alonso or Norris I'd like to see win. Less than 10 laps to go, then Russell has officially caught up to us. But worryingly, yeah, Alonso and I still closing in on Charles Leclerc here, so it looks like our teammates' pace just isn't quite enough to match those top 2 here later in the afternoon. We're going to try and go for the run on Alonso up the hill. Basically, I just want to see Alonso get the run back on me out over the top then. I mean, it's really difficult to judge what to do right now. We just want to get to the end of the race in the quickest time possible. Here goes Alonso again. Back down the inside, not going to fight it. Or try not to fight it. And the Spaniard back through. Approaching lap 30 then, and now we're kind of having to try like the middleman between Alonso and Russell here. I'm trying to make sure that Alonso's got enough room to manoeuvre up at turn 1 so that Russell can't get to me, but I also can't get to the back of the Spaniard either. It really does seem like, yeah, even Lando's now dropped off the back of Verstappen as well here late on in the day, as Perez now making the move on Lewis Hamilton. I mean, they're 15 seconds back now, so it's starting to matter a little bit less. I'm absolutely going to try and go for it on Fernando towards the end of the race. We could even get back to Leclerc. And again then, I think George Russell just a little bit too close this time around, so we'll try and fly around the outside of Alonso up the hill. I mean, if we could get in the range of Charles, then that would be glorious there, as again, just locking up the rears at that top of the hill. I think that might give Alonso quite an easy run back past me here, and maybe even Russell as well. But like I said, I want to try and stay between them if we can as well. Russell tries to have a look around the outside. We haven't got a lot of grip. We haven't got a lot of tyre. He has got much fresher rubber than us, let's not forget as well. There's Alonso there just about able to hang on again. And we somehow stay between them. Oh, Alonso. Alonso, just like we saw with Albon early on, makes a mistake there down at turn 1. And immediately he is going to throw away P4 in this race.
Track in front of us, and let's make the best of it. So please make this next one a very fast lap.
Suddenly as well, I've got the gap over George Russell, so really not sure what's going on here late on in the day. Alonso nearly 3 seconds back immediately. I mean, unless he's properly destroyed those tyres, probably not going to make much of a difference. But imagine if we got a 10-second gap over him. I tell you what, watching Leclerc through the middle sector, I think he's got front wing damage as well. And that would explain the lack of pace towards the end of the afternoon here. And we're going to be agonisingly close, under 1 second to our teammate there. But yeah, that would explain why Charles has really struggled towards the end of the afternoon as well. 5 laps to go. We could still try and beat him on the road. I'm just, yeah, gutted there's no, like it said we were doing 50 miles an hour. Surely, you know, the team could try, I mean, it's Ferrari after all. They could try and, you know, force that penalty to be removed. 3 laps to go then of this Grand Prix. The other thing we've got to be careful of is we have now got Russell inside the range of Charles.
The car behind us, keep pushing.
I know that he is still a title rival at this stage of the championship, but yeah, we just need to make sure that at least one of the cars gets a podium. The last thing I want to see is, you know, say Leclerc has a couple of mechanical issues and Verstappen is suddenly all over him in the championship. Those 3 extra points can be really critical there, as Russell now, effectively, we are working as defence for our teammates. People within the team realise what I'm doing right now, and hopefully, you know, maybe down the line Leclerc will pay it back to us. Had a little bit of tension in recent races, but a couple of wins on the board for ourselves there have really put a spring back in our step. I think Austria this weekend, yeah, has really just been one to forget for us ultimately. Yeah, just absolute disaster right the way through. But yeah, next time out, of course, back at home at Silverstone. Really would love to try and deliver a home race win for the team as well. But it has been an interesting weekend. Lando, Norris and McLaren do seem to be there or thereabouts in the pace once more. Looks like the upgrades they brought have been super useful as well late on in, well, the first half of the season, haven't they? But yeah, Leclerc as well, though, just hanging on at the moment. A real disaster weekend for Ferrari. The first time seemingly all season where both cars have had a little bit of a nightmare here. And if we can walk away with P3, a trophy come the end of it, I don't think we can complain too much. Ferrari have been on the podium every single race so far this season. We hope that today is not going to be the end of that streak. 1 more lap to go here from the Austrian mountains, and now it's really a question of what sort of run can George Russell get out of that first corner there. He's going to be all over the back of me as we try and make our way up the hill. But we've got to make sure that we don't get too close to Charles too quickly there, as our Russell thinks about it. And I'm going to completely ruin my own race even more. Into the back of Charles Leclerc there. Luckily, we're not going to do any damage to our teammate. See if we can try and get the run back down the inside of George Russell. We're not great. We've not really got a lot to lose now. I mean, that's just... I mean, he moved in the braking zone again, but I think we probably should have been able to avoid that one. As, yeah, Russell now back down the inside. He's going to be able to go, but Leclerc has certainly got the range on him. It's Alex Albon now up into P7 of this race. We need to make sure I don't throw away absolutely everything on this final lap. As Max Verstappen, though, through the final corners, he is going to claim victory back-to-back here in the Austrian mountains. The perfect weekend for the Red Bull man at a circuit we knew he would be strong. For us, though, through the final corner, both races we finished without a front wing. This time round, it's for P6.
It's always box office when this man's at the front. Max Verstappen takes the checkered flag.
And that's 2 wins in a row now, of course. And it marks the fact that it's not a fluke. So, you know, their head's in the right space. What more can we see going forwards?
Here come today's winners. The team at Red Bull have done a phenomenal job recently. It's clear to see that they've put in the work, and they should be proud of the victory they've secured here.
Well, there we go then. Max Verstappen, I don't think he could have really asked for a whole lot more this weekend. 33 points on the board for the Dutchman, and just after we started to get a good run of form going, unfortunately, yeah, we have absolutely lost out to him in the championship there. He gains 11 points on Charles Leclerc as well, though, so I don't think he can complain this weekend. Lando Norris, though, P2 in the GP with the fastest lap as well there. Goes to show McLaren on their day are absolutely still within the fight there. Luckily for us in the end, the 10-second penalty absolutely made no difference at all. I think, yeah, had things gone right, we could have fought for P3. But ultimately, yeah, P6. We just did not have the pace or the consistency this weekend. Alex Albon, though, absolutely did. He got the better of Perez, Piastri, and Lewis Hamilton when all is said and done. This was a sensational drive by the Williams man. They're a little bit further down. Ollie Behrman, the one driver who failed to see the checkered flag. That means championship-wise, well, the gap now between Verstappen and Leclerc down to 39 points there, as we are 33 behind the Red Bull as well. So it's all looking pretty good for Max Verstappen after this weekend, and I'm sure before we get to the summer break, he will be looking to try and deliver on a couple of other strong circuits for himself there. No real other changes further down the order. Lando still in P4 ahead of Russell and Alonso there, with Piastri, Perez, and Lewis Hamilton ahead of Lance Stroll. Albon, though, very, very close now to the Canadian, so that could be a battle into the second half of the campaign. Constructors-wise, we've still got a 130-point lead. Red Bull had made some gains this weekend, but certainly not enough for us to be worried about. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon when Formula 1 returns ready for the British Grand Prix.